come from a Bengali family, right? So for us, it's like it has to be a future of curiosity. Like, we don't grow up thinking, oh, we're gonna buy 5 cars and 2 big houses, and that's going to be the future. We think of doing something that gives a lot of respect in the society, right? So you either have to be a scientist, or you have to be a big engineer or a big doctor, right? The respect and the prestige part matters more than the money and the show part. My dad's an architect, all right. My mom's a psychologist. So we have this little joke running around that dad is something that requires a little bit of art. Mom is something that requires a little bit of understanding human beings, and I'm a writer. So we are practically not a family but an agency. The reading part comes from my mother. She's an avid reader. She was introducing me to Agatha Christie. Like, she loves detective books, right? I was roaming like a headless chicken, trying to try out different things and see what I latched onto. So I went to Kota because four of my friends were going there, right? And they said it was interesting, and I wasn't a studious kid. Like, I was okay, right? And I thought, oh, this would be cool. Maybe I'll become studious and become a doctor or something. But there were there were these little shops in Kota, which very very weird thing is that not weird, but interesting thing is that they were selling movies for 5 rupees, right? So you would give a memory card, let's say a 64 GB memory card. You would get them and tell them, hey man, just give me like 10 movies, and they'll give you 10 movies and they'll charge 5 rupees per movie. And suddenly the world was open, because before that I was growing up in boarding and I didn't watch a lot of movies. Like, I missed a great section of movies because no TVs were allowed there. So I thought, oh, the world is an oyster, right? So I said, you know what, let's do something, right? So I opened my phone and I searched IMDb top 100 movies of all time. But I made a mistake, right? I downloaded the obscure list, top 100 IMDb movies of all time, and I gave the list to this shopkeeper and say, I want all the 100 movies, and I gave him 500 rupees and put this on my memory card. I gave him 3 memory cards, and I thought these are the top 100 movies because I didn't double check. And at that entire stretch of 3-4 months, I was watching movies from art house movies like Paris, Texas, from directors like Agnes Varga, Christoph Kilowski. I'm like, wow, I mean, this is insane. People enjoy this. I mean, yeah, it is lovely. It builds character, but it's kind of slow, very different. And then I got to know, okay, there are other movies. Then I got into those kind of things. Mad Men actually showed me that there is a career in advertising. And before that, it was writing, and it was movies and stories. Mad Men, when I watched Mad Men, I saw this guy, Don Draper, right? He wears suits, he drives Cadillac, he works in a big office, and everyone respects him. And what he does, he just writes some lines. I'm like, wait a second, does a job like this actually exist now, or is it just the early 70s and the 80s, right? And that showed me that advertising as a career is also possible, that I didn't know, right? So at that moment, I searched and I looked for these agencies they were saying in the movie, like McCann, Ogilvy, and I'm hearing these names of these big agencies, and I'm searching and I see, oh, they are available in India, and there are other boutique agencies all around the country, and they are doing advertising. So I joined a very small agency back in Chandigarh, a boutique agency, and but I didn't join as a copywriter at that time. I joined as an account manager. But the interesting thing is that I used to crack a lot of joke around the office, right? So there was this person over there, and she worked in agencies for 12-13 years, big agencies, right, network agencies. And she told me, hey, you know what, you should try writing these jokes more, and you should be a copywriter. And that is when I took that advice seriously, because if somebody comes from 12-13 years of experience and spots something in you, you take it a little seriously. So then I got more into writing copy, in my own accounts, the smaller stuff like brochures, leaflets and everything. I tried writing the headlines for them. I put some Easter egg lines in them, right? So that is where the writing journey starts. So there's a different way of shooting, right? When you shoot sports people, there is a lot of grooming, right? You have to tell, okay, this is how you should speak, and the director and the sports person is talking back and forth. There's a lot of focus on acting. But when you have someone like Kejo, let's say, he's a director, he's the one telling everyone how to act. So he reads the script at one go and he knows exactly what to do. Very interesting to shoot with him. Same with Akshay Kumar, right? Highly professional, and he's always on the zone, right? Like, when he's not shooting, when he's like kind of feeling the shot, there's music on the background and he's listening to the music. Like, he's warming up for the next shot all the time. Then you sometimes shoot with someone like Anurag Kashyap, and you don't want to tell what to do to that guy. He can do it. We do make a lot of ads on the brand side, and we don't submit it for awards. But earlier in my career, when I wasn't getting any job in an agency, because I didn't make any ads, so who's going to give me a job, right? So I started making these things called the spec ads. So basically, I would take a product and I'll write my own headline and make it look like this is the part of this ad and this is a real ad I made. Because if I can fool people into thinking it's a real ad, then I have done my job, right? So I used to make the spec ads and I used to post on LinkedIn. So one of the spec ads I made for Durex for LinkedIn was hoping you all get a raise, right? And it blew up, like 1 million plus impressions and thousands of likes, and all these people who would not even reply to me on DM suddenly started talking, big creative directors and all these people. And the brand manager of Durex and I became friends after that, saying that is great. And everyone on LinkedIn started making their versions, and it was like a whole culture movement thing where people started making ads. Ads were cool again. I always say that if you can make a really good 15-second ad, you can probably make a 1 hour long movie. Because the most irritating thing about making an ad is editing, right? So you will see a lot of people who makes ad comes from either the writing background or the editing background, right? The reason is as people, we hate omitting things, like, right? Subtraction is something we don't like at all. And I think that is a skill, but more than the skill is skin. Like, it's a very thick skin that you have to kill your darlings. That is the best advice I can give in a 15-second ad. You have to be either in love with art or writing. I mean, that is the basic. Even if you want to be a manager, account manager, and want to do business, because again, if you don't love the craft, you will probably not do good at it. Maybe you can beat around the bush a few years, but you really have to love the craft, right? So I would suggest you read a lot, try to write a lot, try to make a lot of art. And if you're getting into advertising, one thing you should definitely know is how you should know is people. What makes them happy, what makes them cry, what they actually want. And yes, you can read a lot of books, you can watch a lot of documentaries, but at the end of the day, you have to step outside your house. The best part of advertising is the stepping out of the house, right? There is more politics happening inside a train to Bihar than anywhere in the world, right? More political discussions happening, and you'll get to know the people so better. If you're interested in politics, that is where you go. If you're interested in creativity and ad making, go to museums, see what they're talking about while they look at a picture. You go and sit at a chai tapri and see what are they talking about the weather, right? If someone has bought a new car or a bike, you ask them, why did they buy the car, right? So curiosity is the number one thing that you should have if you're getting into advertising.